Good evening, good evening. Happy Tuesday. Happy Taco Tuesday. Perhaps it is Wednesday, depending upon where you are on the globe. Let me cut this down for a moment. Okay. It's still on, but not as loud, and I had to cough a little bit as well. I have the AC blasting. Hey there, DL. Please be sure to hit that like button if you haven't already. I'm just driving on my way home from work and vibing. Right now I'm listening to, my goodness, it's 11:11, and I'm not sure how many of you are into numbers, but I always get amazed when I happen to look at the clock and it is on 11:11. But thank you, DL, for stopping by, and thank you to anybody who stops by during these nightly, and they're not going to be every night, trust me, just driving and vibing. You may just hear some music unless it gets clapped or me speaking on some topics. I've listened to a couple of lives today in many different spaces, and when I tell you the shenanigans are full throttle, there is not one embellishment, and I do not know why they wait until the dead of night to do road work. Let's see who else came in. Joy, my sister Joy from the Philippines. How are you doing? And it is Wednesday, I believe, for you. So, happy Wednesday to you. Again, trusting everyone is doing well this day, this night, and for those abroad this morning. Give me one moment while I get over real quickly. But a lot of what I've seen today, and I will be brief with it. DL is saying, honey, a bunch of foolishness. Joy, yes, I am feeling better. Thank you so much for asking. I still have a ways to go, and it's just going to be that. But yes, I am feeling much better. I am back to work. Just getting stronger, doing a lot of breathing exercises. Again, with this weather, and keep in mind, people are still getting viruses and everything. I just have to be extremely careful. Everyone actually should be careful. So I'm forging ahead, and whatever the walk is, it is. So, yes. You don't have sick? No, I'm actually always going to be quote unquote sick, if you will. But as far as how I was, no. I am much better. I'm going to say 90% better. I'm back at work. I'm driving and doing everything that I was doing before. Not at the same pace, but it's there, so I'm grateful for that. So as I was saying, I was listening to a lot of different content creators today, and again, I am never, ever going to place myself on a pedestal, because I know the life I've lived, and I know that I can get a little ornery at times. I'll just say that. But to go to the lengths of some, and again, I am not one to judge. There's no way that I could, but I can say I'm not made of the same ilk as many. And someone at my age, which is 55, and let's see, what is it? It's June, July, August, October, November. 5 months, God willing, I'll see 56. And I am, and this is not to offend anyone, and sometimes you cannot help offending people. I get offended, so I understand. But I'll just say 56 for all intents and purposes. There are things that I would not do nor say on social media because I've said this so many times ad nauseum. You do not know who's watching and who's listening. And for those people, in my opinion, again, these are all just my opinions, thoughts, and observations, who are bent on intentionally, and when I say intentionally, with premeditation, with malice, I'm talking about situations, and I hate to use the word plot, but I believe it's fitting. Those with the plans to harm others by way of damaging brands, having things caught up in the legal system when you may already know you may not get what you initially seek, but you'll settle for the settlement. So you have to look at the root words of things. Settlement, settle. And most of the time, people who enjoy litigation, and trust me, and I've said this before, certain things I will not speak on unless I know for sure. Most people who find themselves in front of a commissioner, a magistrate, a judge, it's not their first rodeo. And I'm telling you, and I can't say that enough, because the boomerang has hit me in my head at a younger age. That is why I know better. It comes back. In my opinion, the legal system should not be used nor manipulated because your feelings were hurt. And it is important and suggested that anyone who is paying attention to some of these people, not all, because I do believe that there are those that have a legitimate complaint that should be decided. Those, and there are a few, I believe, have the intent, the sole intent, to collect a purse. And they may seek those who they may feel can provide that purse, even if that person has been kind to them. I've learned actually, when I was down, those that you think are close to you may be the ones waiting for you to take that dirt nap. And I know that sounds really morbid and harsh, but it's the truth. People, when you are up and you're doing well and you extend and help others, people will kiki and caw with you. But when you are down and you may need assistance from others, and again, assistance is not always financial, but maybe a kind word, encouragement, prayer. And I know some people are funny about that. And when I say funny, I mean they may not want certain people praying for them. I get that. I get that. So I have no problems if people disagree with that. But at least something that may foster some type of spark in that person who's going through. Those people rarely are there. So you have to watch behavior and those that say, I'm there for you, I've got your back. Because I'm telling you, and this happens in many relationships, interpersonal, personal, business, you name it, it happens. When the tough gets going, people will flee. Sometimes, to some defense, it may be difficult for people to see those that they care for suffering. I get that. But you also have to keep in mind how those people may feel. They may feel as though you abandoned them when they needed you the most. A simple phone call or a text, hey, I'm just checking on you to see how you're doing. I'm not really sure what's happened to looking out for one another. People want to speak about elders and the behavior of elders, but what type of examples are elders really placing out there for people? Yes, again, I will say I understand for viewership purposes the entertainment value. I absolutely have no issues with that. But to me, there should be a balance because younger people are watching, listening, gathering ideas, and oftentimes emulate what they see and what they hear. And if you're putting out a product that is or could be deemed as shameful, embarrassing, or perhaps, and I don't think many people pay attention to this, a product that may promote stereotypes that are already there, you're doing a population of people a major disservice. I have never seen in my life people in their 50s. I haven't seen too many in their 60s, but in their 50s behave in the manner that they do. The language is deplorable. And again, if I come out my bag, absolutely. Will I come out of it again? I'm sure that I will. But every day, to press the live button, and that's all you hear. I don't understand it. I don't understand those that support that. There are many that give themselves an attaboy. Hey there, Benoit. And Hey there, Queen, Warrior, how are you? And the Oracle, how are you doing? Trying to scroll through real quick. But those that purport to be all of these different titles, but your actions and your walk is something completely different. You don't think people, well, critical thinkers, pay attention to that? Now, some people may not want to hurt feelings of others. I get that. But there should be at least one or two people that truly support you, that will let you know that, you know what, you may want to slow it down just a little bit. Pay attention to what it is that you're saying and what you're doing. Because even though there are some people that believe all attention is good attention, it's not the case. And it's unfortunate because if you pay close attention to many things that are going on, there are people that have been physically hurt, some even losing their lives. And I do not celebrate that whatsoever. I am against violence, period. I've seen many bloggers speak on this rapper. I don't even know his name because, to be honest, I never heard of him. I want to say Fulio or something like that. And pardon me if I did not pronounce the name correctly, but I believe this tragic story occurred either on his birthday or prior to. And I want to say he would have been in his mid 20s. I mean, to me, oh my God, that's a baby. And I heard some bloggers speak about the lifestyle. I understand that too, but that does not, in my opinion and from my optics, will ever believe that because someone may, for a living, say certain things should be a reason for them to lose their lives. But there are people out there, probably someone that may have known him. I don't know. I don't even know the full story other than this young man lost his life. You just have to be careful. I spoke on energy the other night when I went live. Is it worth it? Is a mask. Because I don't believe, and this is just me, I don't believe that everyone who steps on a stage, whether the stage is at a venue or social media, is the true representation. I think a lot of people go into character, but with that, you must be careful because we have people that are dealing with many, many forms of mental illness. You would be surprised the amount of people, and I have been planning a live for the longest time and never got to it, but it's going to be, when I do, a powerful one, and it deals with cults. and the Jim Jones story. And in my opinion, on social media, you have people, again, this is just my opinion, behaving in cult-like ways. They will listen and follow whatever a certain person says, both men and women. You can have people present credible evidence that debunks what that individual may have said, yet and still, you still have people that believe the person with whom they follow. That is the same thing that happened with Jim Jones. It was not gender nor race specific. People, many, looked at him as a god. His mentality was fueled by the adoration given to him by those people who were seeking a godlike figure. And the stronger he became, this godlike figure turned demonic and behaved in ways totally against the Bible. I'm not sure how many people follow that, but the book of Leviticus breaks down many things as far as what people may engage in. And again, I'm going to save a lot of that for that live, but people are easily, in my opinion, manipulated and believe anything that's told to them. And instead of being responsible and doing research, they just believe it. That's the danger that I see. That's Raheem DeVaughn, one of my favorite songs. But trust in yourself. Trust in the Creator, if that's what your belief is. And I'm not going to shove that down anyone's being, but we're given what I believe is the gift of discernment. And many times, and I'm guilty of this, and I've said this before as well, sometimes we're given hints, we're given red flags, but we don't want to listen to it, or we ignore those. And it comes back sometimes to bite us on our backside. Warrior Queen says, the power that was given to him, he could not handle. Absolutely, absolutely. I've watched several documentaries, and each one of them, I'm left just speechless. I'm left speechless. Over 900 lives were lost. And by the time many of those people started to wake up, or those that became afraid, it was too late. Fortunately, there were survivors, but the majority of them who went, they did not. Hey there, April Showers, how are you? Thank you for coming over. Just speaking random conversation while I'm listening to. This is Teddy Pendergrass now. Turn off the lights. Riding and vibing as I go home, but I was speaking briefly about behaviors that I've seen of quote unquote elders in their 50s. I haven't really seen any in their 60s. I'm sure there may be, but just the behavior and how some people act as if they're in a cult, or they're manipulated by much of what they hear. I would never expect anyone to listen and say, Doe, you're right about everything. No, because number one, I'm not. And number two, I would know automatically that you're being disingenuous. Nobody is right about everything. And those that may have made an error or misspeak on certain things, others should be able to articulate that to the host without that host becoming upset. And I would be very cautious of a chat that is in total agreement of everything I had to say. Those are the people, trust and believe, will be the first ones to put that dagger in your back. And Joy is back. Hey, Joy. Hey there, We Unlock. How are you? Awesome, awesome live stream. And I look forward to collabing with you again. And this time, going a little bit deeper into areas where it's not so comfortable. Because I believe those are conversations that need to be had, and often we grow by them. And again, as I mentioned earlier, everybody will not be in agreement, and we should not be. Sometimes it's good to have a different perspective. Please make sure you hit the like button when you come in. And for those of you who may be listening from the bushes, and that's okay too, if you haven't subscribed, you're welcome to do that if you'd like. Warrior Queen says, some don't understand. It's okay to disagree with anybody ever. Their favorite person. Absolutely. That is why I don't want to, and I'm not associated with any groups. Because the minute you deviate, you become a target. And we've seen this happen. And on the other side, the minute you are hit with something unfavorable, the claws come out and you're ready to go to war and not only hurt the target, but others that may be associated that are totally innocent. And it's really sad. Oh, thank you, Lynn and Greggy. Thank you so much. Please make sure you hit that like button. It is on the upper right hand corner, those three little dots. If you could do that for me, I would truly, truly appreciate it. But yes, we have to be mindful of the person's feelings, but at the same time, I believe we should stand on our own morals and belief system. There are a lot of things that I personally don't agree with, and others, they don't have a problem with. So I hope to have some of these conversations in the future. Again, just to glean a different perspective. I'm about growth and learning because there's still a lot of things I have not been acclimated with. And it's good to have conversations and discussions with other people in other areas because you do not want to become complacent nor stagnant. That stunts your growth. And as I mentioned, I'm totally about growth. And I think that's a goal that many of us should have. So earlier today, I was listening to a couple of people, and I'm just, I don't want to use the word, but it's the best to describe. Just disgusted how some of these women carry themselves, not just in language, but what they may find humorous. And many times it's the pain and suffering of others. Some of these people are parents. Perhaps it's a cycle, a family or generational cycle. I need to do more research on that, but it's just not good. And then you have so many people that support that, which to me is very sad. Thank you, Tete. Hopefully I'm saying your name correctly. That's Tyrese right now. As I said, I was driving and vibing, just having a little conversation before I head on in. And I'll do these maybe twice a week. Depends on how I feel. Um, another another stream I listened to, and this was actually yesterday from a different space, was about two different lady content creators, and it was interesting because they started to speak about each other's physical appearance. That was the topic. Now, I know when women, some women, let me say that because I don't want to generalize, get into arguments. That's the first thing they do. They go at looks. Some then go at their children, relationships, Hey there, Brian. How are you? Thank you for coming in. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone that's come in. And before you know it, it's gotten way, way, way out of hand. I believe many women are forgiving individuals. Maybe, just maybe, they can salvage that, or maybe it went too far and that isn't possible. I'm just not sure how that even happened. So I just listen and listen, trying to understand. I think if we take time out to understand people, that could bridge the gap. But there are some people who I had really honestly given the benefit of the doubt, and it was all for naught because they have not changed, not one bit. If anything, in my opinion, they've gotten much worse. And I don't know if it is truly something that happened in their past to cause them to behave in the manner in which they do, or if they're just evil. Hey, Joy, thank you for coming back, and thank you for sending your support. Or if they're just evil. Mental mental health issues are real, and they come in many, many forms. I plan on doing a live, I'm not sure when, but it's going to be about hoarders. And I'm not sure of how many people are familiar with hoarding or hoarders. I believe there was or is an actual television program about that, but I want to do a deep dive into the people that collect items that they themselves feel and believe are of value, but they do it in excess where it becomes a danger, a danger to themselves, because you have to look at the possibility of those items catching fire. Then you have the health issue. When you collect items, papers, books, any type of item, and you can Google hoarders and see how people just collect and collect, and they can barely get through their homes. That's a breeding place for pests and other things. You also, and again, I implore you to do your own thorough independent research. Depending upon the condition of the house, you may end up with mold or mildew issues. And if you end up having black mold, that's extremely toxic. So that's another thing to be cognizant of. Usually, from my research, and I need to do more before I actually do a live about that, something traumatic has happened, perhaps the loss of a loved one, some type of grief. But I remember doing an investigation way, way, way deep in West Virginia. I want to say, I can't remember, Elgin, or it began with an E. That's because it's dark. I'm just speaking. Hey, Ninja Drew, how are you? But it was deep in West Virginia, and this veteran, and as I've mentioned before, and I was very serious, I'm not gaslighting anyone. The VA is no joke, and they investigate any and everything. So some of these people on social media that have said they have been in the military, and I'm not saying that they have not been, but some of them need to be extremely careful. And I'll leave it at that. But this veteran was a hoarder. And when I tell you any and everything you could think of that you could find at a VA hospital, this person, hey there, Leonia, how are you? This person had collected, there were boxes and boxes of band-aids, of gauze, of VA posters, scalpels. I mean, this person appeared to have gone into an operating room. There were all types of surgical equipment. There were empty pill vials, and there was just almost columns of items stacked up, stacked up, stacked up. And we had to go through, oh God, we were there for 2 days. Empty, well, most of them were empty pill vials, but the ones that actually had pills in there, they had to be sent off to be tested to see what they were and make sure they weren't controlled medications that weren't being sold on the street. But I mean, calendars, posters, some records. And you know that's personal information. Anything you could think of. There was one column that was all blue latex gloves. Hi there, Adventure. Thank you. Foodie, thank you. Thank you all for coming by. But there were just piles and piles of items. And no one could understand. And that's the thing about hoarding. You don't really understand the mentality of that person as to, number one, what made that particular item. I'll just use the latex gloves, feeling as though that was of value. Hi there. Is that Teresa? Hopefully I'm pronouncing your name correctly, but thank you for coming by. Thank you, Team Joy. Thank you, Oracle. I saw Oracle in here earlier. Pure Vlog, Adventure. Who else? Leonia, Rodney, thank you. Shanier, hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Maggie, Jay, John, Joey, Dan Soul, Icon Arts, Shin, Dex, Car J, everybody from Team Joy. Thank you all. Warrior Queen, Jings, Ninja Drew, My G, Brian, Lynn, We Unlock, April, DL, Benoit, Oracle, and of course, Sister Joy, all the way from the Philippines. Melvin, thank you so much. But yes, that's Stevie Wonder now that's playing in the background. But as I mentioned, you just have to be careful and be mindful of everything that you hear and say. But most importantly, be mindful of what you yourself may say. Because again, you never know who's watching. And there are so many topics out there, and this one should be interesting about hoarders. Because I experienced that, like I said, when we did an investigation, and I just know there are many others out there that are suffering with that condition. And a lot of times people, they ignore many signs. And sometimes the subtle signs that have been ignored are the ones that end up being the major red flags. And after that, it may be too late. So always be sure to pay attention. Just pay attention to patterns of people. And this is not to say that these people should be ostracized. Absolutely not. Everyone, I believe, again, this is just my belief, has issues in some capacity, and we all may need a helping hand. So that's why I believe it's important for these conversations, or at least these subjects, to be touched on, so we have a better understanding, because we may have friends, relatives, or family members that might be suffering from this condition and ignored the signs. So just pay attention. Pay close attention. Thank you again for everyone that has dropped in on this Drive Vibe edition, where I'm just speaking on random thoughts. And as I mentioned, I will probably do this a couple of nights during the week. on my drive home to fellowship with you all and to touch on briefly a couple of topics that I may be speaking live on. And if you have any thoughts or comments, please be sure to leave them in the comment section. So I am going to run in this pharmacy real quick. Yes, I'm still picking up meds, and leave this on, and you all can fellowship with one another until I get back. So for those that get in here, please be sure to hit the like button, and that's TLC. And this song is called Digging on You. Thank you for all that hit the like button. Thank you for your support. Truly appreciate it. And I'll be back. All right, I'm back. And thank you for those that have stayed here. Appreciate you. Let me see if I missed any messages. And again, thank you for those that are still in here while I am vibing and we're writing. And again, it is now Wednesday and perhaps Thursday for some of you that are abroad. So thank you so much. Let me check something real quick. I forgot something, but I have time to do it tomorrow, hopefully. That's finished. Hopefully that won't go. Alrighty. Alright. I finished that errand. Didn't take me as long as I thought that it would. Usually the pharmacy, especially 24-hour pharmacies, can take a good little time, but that wasn't long at all. At least not for me. Okay, real quick. Nope. Okay, just gonna let it vibe until I get in. So those that may come back can vibe as I'm driving, and those that may catch the replay, feel free to leave any comments on what I spoke about briefly. And anything you may want to leave a comment about, you're all welcome to do so. Hopefully this won't fall again.